Hello and welcome back to Front Porch Sports. It's going to be episode number 15 or 15 if you're counting. Like, 15. And I am your host, Steven. We're coming to you live from our porch to yours. And I also have with me Jairus.
Good Monday evening, ladies and gentlemen.
And also, as always, our producer and our co-host, everybody's favorite, Fee.
Hello.
He needs a little pep in his step. He's a little down on us this evening.
Yeah, he's been sick and not enough likes on our episode
He was
13.
He was pumped about that skirt, wasn't he?
We need some more likes.
That's right.
Get out there and like it. Go to facebook.com. Like the doo-doo out of it.
I should have brought him a Red Bull.
So, as normal, our Monday episode is going to be about the NFL. Again, it was about the divisional round. We'll talk a little bit about that. Talk maybe a little bit about some of the coaches going around the league. Talk maybe even about Kyler Murray. Where do we see him going in the draft? What's a good fit for him? And then we'll also do our pick 'em as always, let you know who is going to the Super Bowl. So I guess we can start out with Kyler Murray. How do you guys? He did decide today that he is going to enter the NFL draft. Where do you see him fitting in somewhere, or how high you see him being picked?
It's going to be interesting because mostly everybody took a quarterback last year. The only team I really see at this point needing a quarterback, that doesn't already have a project is the Jaguars. And I saw a mock draft today, and they got Dwayne Haskins going at number 3, I think. So I think he's 10 worthy. Just where he goes, I don't know.
Well, he is, he is more NFL ready body wise. Kyler Murray's, 5'9", 180 pounds. I don't know if he could take that kind of punishment at the NFL level. I know that Kingsbury, picking over at 1, said he would like to take him, which is kind of a Kingsbury type of guy, the smaller, more athletic running back. I mean, he had some pretty. He had Mahomes over down at Texas Tech. That's just kind of quarterback, the smaller, more athletic type quarterback. Is Kyler Murray a Mahomes type quarterback? I think that's kind of stretching it. Is he Baker Mayfield? I mean, he played behind Baker Mayfield in Oklahoma, so I kind of find it hard making that stretch as a number 1 type pick. I mean, can he surprise me and do well? I think he could, but I think it's a buyer beware type of thing.
Well, he did let it be known. We mentioned it last episode that he thought he was worthy of being the first quarterback drafted, and he did say if he was in the position to do it, that he would do it. That was kind of him talking. He's got a lot more people that have input on it now. It's not a, I said it, now it's going to happen. He's got upper office guys he's got to talk to, owners, general managers and stuff. But, dude, he's tiny. He's a little bitty guy. I really don't know about his accuracy. It's hard judging from a college performance, which he did fine this year, but knowing how that's going to translate to the NFL, and that Arizona line is hideous. So him being that small, he definitely will get broken in half because those guys can't protect nothing, I thought he should have stuck with the baseball route, but, I've been wrong before, so I guess we'll see what happens. But a projection of where he'll actually go, I've not even had enough time to really think about it to put any real input into it.
I don't think it's going to be top 5 just by looking at the teams in there. And you got Arizona. Surely they're not going to give up on Rosen already. Then you got San Francisco. They got Garoppolo.
Yeah, I don't
You
think.
got the Jets at 3. They got Darnold.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Raiders are pretty happy with the Carr.
And if they're not happy with Carr, I believe they would go for a more experienced guy. I don't think they're going to try to start fresh.
Tampa's
We are
already-
talking about Gruden too, though, so you never can
Yeah.
tell. I mean, he's got like 15 picks in the first round this year. So
You got Tampa at 5, and I'm pretty sure they're going to stay with Winston. I think he said that.
Arians is a Winston fan.
Then you got the Giants Eli may stay. He may not. They may not want him there. That's a possibility.
I hope he goes to the Giants.
At 7,
That's good for my skins.
7, you got Jaguar. That's probably the first quarterback that's going to come off the board. They need one. 8.
I'm telling you, I think Flacco's going to Jacksonville. I really do.
And then you don't really have one until 10. You got the Broncos.
Which need a quarterback.
Yeah.
They do need a quarterback.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's not a good year to be a quarterback. It's not good.
I don't see the Broncos doing it. I think Elway's going to put a lot more time and thought into it, and he's already proven, when he went and grabbed Peyton, which, going and getting Peyton Manning's sort of a no-brainer, but I think he would be more of the route of getting a, experienced guy. I don't think he wants a greenhorn in there either. So I really don't know where he would end up.
Could be a lot of trading up this draft.
There could be.
He could go all the way, fall down to 13th to the.
I mean, wouldn't you rather have Locke from Missouri
I
over?
would. That's who would be
over
the guy.
Murray?
That'd be the guy I'd pick first, in my opinion. But
so I don't know.
Haskins is a pocket passer too.
Yeah,
so I'm not
I'm saying
horribly against
either
it,
one of them
right.
over Murray.
Right.
If that's if you're going to go the rookie route and looks like in any of those scenarios that if they do go the rookie route that's going to be your guy from the get. It's not like when Rodgers came in and sat behind Favre or one of those scenarios. It looks like most of these teams, if they go get somebody, then they're handing over the keys to the castle immediately, and doing that with Murray just doesn't seem like a smart move to me. But I'm not an NFL owner or GM, so what do I know?
bust.
Go yet. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
I'm working on it.
Oh
You're
my
a
God.
potential NFL owner right now.
Be freaking. Who's that guy you love down there in Washington forever? Darryl Green be over there, be GMing. I guarantee it.
Art Monk, somebody.
I know we talked about it a little bit, but Arian did get the Tampa Bay job. He said he's a fan of Winston.
Want to ride with him, huh?
So, well, I think everybody starts out that way because he's what you have. So it's kind of hard to jump on your team and then automatically dish your starting quarterback first day.
I mean, to look at Winston, though, the body type, and he's not a horrible passer. He has a little bit of accuracy issues, but he's got good enough legs to move out of the pocket. Looking at the guy, you would think, I could do something with this guy, but I just think it's already been proven that's not the case. He's a nut job as far as his mental capacity and decision making, and we saw the back and forth between him and Fitzpatrick this year. So, like you say, I'm sure you look at it and say, okay, we're going to ride with him, but at the same time, I don't see him being successful.
He's not a good role model either. So
He has a tendency to try to force a lot of things. That's his biggest
he's not a good
problem
dude.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Stealing crab legs and grabbing
Uber drivers.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, on top of the whole of that drama, but I mean, as far as on the field, he does have a tendency to try to force too many balls, which throws away too many picks, which definitely could be an issue.
It definitely is.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about Gase getting fired from Florida, from Miami, and moving up to New York to coach the Jets.
Go to that.
Is that a punishment or a
What link or what outlet was it you were just showing me there?
I was on Facebook.
On Facebook?
What
is his eyes doing? Is the man on coke or meth or what?
I don't know.
He looks crazy.
He did just leave Miami, so you never know.
Did you see it, what we're talking about, Steve?
No.
When you get a minute.
His press conference.
He sits down at the press conference table there, and his eyes are just as big as saucers. I don't know.
Man does not blink.
Look very, very strange.
Yeah, I see it, yeah.
Did that count? Did he just hit a 3/4
I think so.
to end the half? Sorry. Looky here. Watch right here.
We're watching the Duke-Syracuse game, and Syracuse is putting up quite the fight.
at the half to end the half. 3/4 court. Cool. All right. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry.
No, but yeah, I mean, there's reasons why he got fired out of the Dolphins. There's a reason why the Jets are a perennial bad team too. So I mean,
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense.
I don't get the hire, but
Hey, look what the Dolphins been doing. I think we want that guy.
right, it's one of those things you're like, really? But hey, to each their own, I suppose.
Jets, Jets.
Yeah, I wonder how many people are saying that now.
Not me.
So the Browns got a new coach, Freddie Kitchens. How do you guys like that pick?
He was part of that offense, right? The turnaround on the offense.
He's running back coach, yeah.
So, to my chagrin, you were right, and I hate telling you were about Mayfield being more successful than I ever would have imagined. That doesn't mean it's going to continue, but from the sample size we've got, he's proven that he looks pretty good. And if this Kitchens guy was part of that turnaround after what's his name, Jackson, after Jackson got canned, and if this Kitchen guy was a big part of that, it may very well be a wise move. And I believe the Browns have a lot of upside to them. So.
Yeah, I think they definitely got some playoff aspirations next year. Wouldn't shock me a bit.
Well, no, I mean, hopefully he does well. I hope he. I kind of think everybody kind of liked the Browns after the whole.
The
thing? HBO. What's it called?
Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks. Thank you. I'm having one of those days. I apologize. I worked all day today, so. But yeah, they had one of those. Everybody kind of liked him a little bit, I think, and so hopefully they'll be able to do something there, and he'll do better. I mean, I think the Browns have been bad for a long time. I think they're kind of due. The Browns fans are kind of due to have some good luck, hopefully. And
I'll tell you this, they low.
Play well.
I'll give them that. They low. They fill that stadium up over every Sunday, every home game. So that's hard.
There's not crap else to do in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Everybody's seen the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so what else you got to do?
And LeBron left. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
over.
you're not gonna go see the basketball team, so.
Indians ain't bad. But poor Cleveland.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the.
And I'm all right with Cleveland having some success. So.
Absolutely, and also Denver has a new coach, Vic Fangio. Gotta love the name. The OD coordinator from the Bears.
Isn't it Fangio?
Fangio, Fangio.
Oh,
It's Fan.
And Fangio was his name.
I don't know anything about it. Where'd he come from?
The Bears defensive coordinator.
Oh, that might be good. Well, I think Khalil Mack. The Bears' defense was good, but Khalil Mack kind of took them to another level. Yeah, it'd be good for Denver though. Denver's got a pretty good defense. Von Miller's a studly.
And you got Elway in the front office making a lot of the decisions, so he can kind of handle the offensive putting the players together. That is, I know he won't be actually making the calls or anything, but if he kind of handles the offensive player perspective, and then this guy can shore up that defense a little more than it already was, might be a success story.
I mean, it could be good. I mean, he's been in the league for a long time. The rumor is that he went into Elway's office when he went and interviewed. He said, "I don't care who my staff is. I just want to be the head coach." And so I think Elway kind of likes to be in charge, so it kind of was a fit for him, and we'll see how it works out. And hopefully he does well. I mean, he turned that Bears defense around to be pretty freaking dominant.
Yeah, especially at the end of the year, I think it was one of the best defenses. Didn't have a good offense to go with it.
Yeah, Trubisky was too much of a coin toss. You never knew what you were going to get.
Right.
So.
And I know we talked about him a little bit already, but how about Kingsbury getting fired from Texas Tech, going to USC, and then getting a job with Arizona?
Yeah, Arizona's a hot mess dumpster fire, man. I don't think that's going to be any sort of success story at all.
Is Arizona the new Cleveland?
Quite possibly. They're just not good. They're in a tough division too. We know LA's good. I think San Francisco has all the potential in the world if they can keep healthy, and Seattle's always tough. So don't think Arizona has much of a shot.
Rosen bad.
Yeah, and where it came to used to be a pretty weak conference. It's kind of changed now over the last couple of years to be a pretty dominant conference.
They're pretty stout.
Absolutely. So I think that's pretty much captures everybody on the carousel. Unless I missed somebody, you guys know anybody that I missed?
Tennessee got an offensive coordinator.
They do.
Yeah.
But anyway,
He's not a head coach, though. I mean,
no, but Jim, was it Chaney? Jim Chaney?
Oh, you're talking about football or college? I mean, yeah. Jim Chaney came back to Knoxville. While we're on it, we might as well mention it. It took forever, 40-something days on the OC search, but it turned out. I'm glad we didn't just grab somebody that was there just to get them. We're personally friends with a huge Georgia fan, Bronson, and Bronson was pretty dismayed about it. He was not happy he's gone. When Chaney was in Knoxville, offense was not our problem at all. We put up actually broke some records as far as Tennessee history goes. Our defense was just absolutely crap back then. Not that it's so much better now, but it is better and trending in the right way. So I think it's a huge victory for the Vols.
Yes.
all right. So I guess that kind of wraps up most of the carousel. Let's talk a little bit about the divisional games. So how did we do last week, Fee? Go ahead.
Look
Say it.
Look at him over
Bring
there.
it.
Look at him over there smiling.
Where's my crown?
Let's see. I finished at 2-2.
Respectable.
Yeah, I guess. Jairus has 3-1, and Steve at 4-0. Perfect.
Which brings the total to?
Jairus is at 5-3, and me and Steve are tied at 6-2.
That's right. I'm back, baby.
Man, you heard me whenever I was picking that dang Chargers game. I knew better. Go back and listen to it. You can hear it in my voice. Like, why am I doing this? Picking definitely with my heart over my head for sure.
Yep.
And the Patriots just put a smackdown on them. So,
all right, let's talk a little bit about the game. Starting out with the first game on Saturday was the Indianapolis Colts going to a frigid Kansas City Chiefs and getting slapped around a little bit.
lots of snow, wasn't there? Did you see all that snow
It
piled
was
up
a
on the
little
sideline?
cold.
Yeah, dang, Chiefs just shut him down. Luck couldn't throw the ball, couldn't run the ball. They got behind where he had to throw the ball. I'm giving the game ball to the Chiefs defense on that one. It was good. They did everything good. Mahomes played good. Running game was good. They looked like the Chiefs from about 5 or 6 weeks ago.
Mid-season, late
Yeah.
season, early, late.
Well, I think a lot of it was you had a Colts team that used to play in, even though they're in Indianapolis where it's nice and cold, they play in a dome where it's 75 degrees all the time. You had T.Y. Hilton that still has that hurt shoulder that's not 100%, which is really your only offensive weapon. I mean, the team looked bad. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't pass. They have no pass rushers. That's some things they need to correct going forward and able to make a push. And you got to give them credit. I mean, Mahone in the limelight stepped up and played a heck of a game. I mean, he didn't have huge numbers, but he was able to direct that offense, and that offense was able to score a bunch of points.
Hell, Vinatieri missed a 23-yard field
Yeah.
goal. Nobody did good for the goal.
Another doink.
Jeez.
And Marlon Mack, the running back for the Colts, had some pretty respectable games as of late, but they absolutely shut that down. And the way Luck's been playing here of late, you would have thought, okay, no problem. Luck his arm can be more than enough to keep him in it and maybe even get the win. But he looked a little off. Hilton may being a little banged up. Abram did basically nothing. I don't know exactly what his stats was, but
5 catches, 51 yards.
see, I mean, that's okay, but
He had 9 targets.
so it just wasn't the luck we had seen as of late, and daggum Mahomes is for real, man. That little running back, that Williams kid looked good, and Tyreek Hill is a blazing fast young man. So yeah, and the Chiefs' defense, I'm not going to say was the 85 Bears D by any means, but they were more than serviceable and did their part, and big win by Kansas City.
Yeah, I think it really exposed the Colts defense not having that pass rusher. I mean, Mahomes sat back there for at times was able to make a sandwich before he looked up to even throw the ball to somebody. No real pressure on anybody. Damian Williams had a huge game, 25 carries, 129 yards.
That's their third string running back.
That is your third string. Yeah, I mean, Andy Reid finally gets the monkey off his back, gets a win in January at home. First time since Joe Montana was a quarterback that's happened. So, it's as long as they can continue to protect Mahomes and give him time to throw the ball, they could be a tough out.
Oh yeah,
and you were talking. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He's MVP for a reason.
You were talking about how much time he had in the pocket, and that's what's so good about him is when things break down a little bit, he does not just take off running. He sits back there. He's trying to make something happen downfield and not just be a Lamar Jackson type guy, just take off running crazy or whatever. So he's very mature and very good. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He talks like Kermit the Frog, but other than that, he's pretty immaculate.
Shit, yeah, he threw for over 5,000 yards this year. There's only a handful of guys that have done that. And Drew Brees did it like 5, and the rest of them did it like 1. But I mean, he's the best second-year quarterback I've ever seen. I can tell you that.
I like him.
It's like his first full year starting too, so
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of impressive. All right, so the other game that afternoon was the Cowboys, which actually people said it was a blowout, but it was actually a lot closer near the end than I think the Rams wanted it to be. But they do come away with the victory, 30-22.
I think the Rams had a plan to shut Zeke down. They did. He only had 47 yards on 20 carries. And you do that, you put the game in Dak Prescott's hands, and
which didn't play horrible.
He didn't play bad, but I mean, I like my odds when that happens.
Cowboys' defensive line's no joke. They're really good, or not just their inside defensive guys. Those linebackers and line are good. They're stout, and the Rams O-line owned them basically. There wasn't a lot of sacks happening, which is good for Goff because Goff, I think, would have folded a little bit if he was getting hammered every other play. But it's basically what I expected to happen. I thought it might be a little larger margin of victory for the Rams, but
especially Rams ran for 273 yards.
Yeah.
Jesus, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, but
their O-line was on point, man.
yeah, Goff did have a great game, 15 for 28, 186 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. But I think the biggest story of that game was C.J. Anderson finding the youth and coming out there like a bowling ball and just running people over.
He had a great game.
He didn't average many yards as Gurley, but he had more yards, 23 carries, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns, longest being a 15-yard run.
That's like his third 100-yard game in a row.
I mean, he has found some fountain of youth. I mean, C.J. Anderson's been around for
He was
forever.
He was around the Peyton Manning Broncos days, and before that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's been around for a while. Good on him, finding a home out in L.A. and making a two-headed monster out there, really, for the Rams.
I'm just trying to get some brownie points from Bronson, giving O-line a shout-out there.
For a shout.
Bronson would be proud of me for that. But honestly, they did. They dominated. That O-line had a heck of a game, and the running backs, of course, get to reap the rewards from it. But hopefully those guys will take him out for a steak dinner or something. To
pulled pork sandwich.
Yeah, give him some
As
love.
Bronson would say.
That's right.
Yeah, give them something because I mean that was really the story of the game is they were just blowing the Cowboys back. I mean, being they dominated so well on the ground, it's surprising that the Cowboys were technically in the game late in the game. Had a chance to maybe come back and put some more pressure on the Rams, but it just didn't work out. The Rams were too good. Again, you look at the stands, and there was a lot of Cowboy fans out there for that game. It's part of being on the West Coast out there that you're never really a home team. You're always about 50-50 whenever they can be. The Cowboys do travel well, but the Rams in this case ended up being victorious out there in Los Angeles.
Another good thing, the Cowboys made it far enough. I believe Jason Garrett saved his job again. Also, being a Redskins fan, I'm all right with it because I don't have no faith in that guy. So
I'm not sure how he does it. He's going to be like the new Marv Lewis out there.
So I'm happy about that.
All right, so let's stay in talking about Los Angeles teams. As the Los Angeles Chargers went out to New England and got Belichicked, I guess.
Gee, yeah, I totally blew the pooch on this one. I really thought that the Chargers were going to beat the Patriots. I thought Brady was going to suck and Phillip Rivers was going to throw the ball, but the opposite happened.
The Chargers had a hell of a season. They looked really good. And I've already mentioned it that I knew better. I knew better than pick against Patriots at home. But I told Fee before we went on air, I'd actually dozed off before the game started and woke up, and it was almost the end of the first quarter, and I was mind blown. I had what happened? How did this happen?
They scored on their first 3 drives.
And first 4 drives.
First 4, yeah.
Touchdowns on the first 4 drives.
I just turned it after that.
Not just scored touchdowns on the first 4 drives.
The Patriots hadn't been playing that way. They definitely looked like they were on a pretty significant slide, and the Chargers were the exact opposite. Chargers had looked really good, and wow, just a butt whooping is all you can say about that one.
Well, I mean, when you really break it down and you look at the game, I mean, New England never takes the opening kickoff, and they won the toss and took the opening kickoff this time, which never happened, which tells me that Belichick had a plan to
Different
stomp
mindset
on their face.
Yeah.
And jump on their throat and jump down them and just stomp them. And they did. They come out, get the ball, run down and score. Phillip Rivers does come back, makes a heck of a throw, a deep bomb to tie the game up again. And then just after that, it was total domination by New England. They won by, you could tell that they went back and looked at that tape against the Ravens, the earlier tape, and saw how they were able to run against those guys, not expecting that that San Diego's going to be putting that nickel package in. So they run the ball with Sony Michael, and then with Michelle. Sorry, I always want to say Michael for some reason. But with Sony Michel, he come in there, he dominate, run all over that defense, and then as soon as they put the nickel back in to stop the run, then Tom Brady draw back and pass, and it would just they had no answers, they had no way to stop them. It was total domination, totally a Belichick type move. He brings stuff out that you never seen that team do before. Like he may run a play he hasn't run in 4 years, and all of a sudden he's featuring that play all game.
Yeah. 2 side notes on that game. James White tied the reception records in a playoff game with 15. He tied Darren Sproles. Also, Edelman moved into second place on the playoff reception leaders list behind Jerry Rice at 150. He is at 98. Edelman is, so he's got a way to catch up. But
right, and how Belichick of a game is it? When he had 15 receptions and didn't break 100 yards receiving. I mean, that's totally a Belichick type offense. Get what they give you. Take your 5 yards. just driving down the field. And they had some plays where they had more first downs in some drives, and I think the Chargers had
No,
all
they
game.
had to. They have a 11-minute, 20-second drive or something.
With
Yeah.
Did they really?
With
Yeah.
like 9
Holy
first downs
cow.
or something. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
It was like 20 plays. It was
Yeah.
nuts.
What about Edelman looking like a MMA fighter or like a freaking badass Hell's Angel member or something with that beard? He looks mean, man.
Like you're gonna go chop some wood or something.
he looks mean. I like the look on him. Good looking there, Edelman. I don't like you at all, but
It's
I'm man crushing on you a little
it's
bit.
the
Until you
biggest.
stand somebody that's over 5'10",
Yeah.
and then he looks little again. So
He's got a big old beard. Also, Patriots are one win away from tying the playoff wins record behind the Steelers. They're at 34, and the Steelers are at 35. So if they win this week, they'll move in for a tie for the all-time.
Come on, Kansas City.
yeah, the Steelers didn't get themselves any help
Oh,
this year.
Actually,
In
it was the Browns that didn't help them.
That's true. Very true. If you want to get technical,
I'm just playing.
or maybe it could have been dropping a goose egg
Yeah.
against.
Yeah, the Raiders. That Raiders
Raiders.
lost,
Oh, man.
and the Broncos lost. That don't help.
Yeah.
That don't help nobody.
But yeah, it was. Edelman had 9 catches, 151 yards this game. Philip Dorsett had
And
4 catches.
he ain't
41.
no spring chicken. He's been doing it for a long time too.
Yeah, and like we already said, Sonny Michel had 24 carries, 129 yards, 3 touchdowns.
He had 3 alone.
He had
Wow.
3 alone. Rex Burkhead had a touchdown as well, rushing. He had 4 carries, 12 yards. Tom Brady he threw 44 times, completed 34 of them for 343 yards and a touchdown.
Yep.
Which is not a bad stat line.
Yeah, I thought it's the way they finished the year. I just figured it was time for him to kind
It
of
looked like they were going opposite of that, didn't it? But
bunch of buttheads.
Yeah, but going into Gillette Stadium, undefeated at home this year. Now, they struggled on the road. They're only 3-5 on the road this year. But at home, the Patriots have been able to get it done.
Well, they ain't gonna be home next week.
And unless you got some Belichick magic, we'll see what happens. But I don't think you can ever count out the Patriots.
I was hoping this was the year you could, but it's not looking like it.
I think we all hope that, but he's broken my heart more times than I can count.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so let's talk probably about the most competitive game, I would think, hands down, that anybody can think of over the weekend. It was Philadelphia Eagles and Big D Foles leading his team against the New Orleans Saints.
Well, they jumped out early in the first quarter.
It was looking like he did have some sort of special magic, wasn't it, Fee?
Yeah, yeah. And then I was driving. I was taking my son back home to his mom, and I was on the phone following the game with somebody. And once I saw the Saints were scoring and the Eagles were no longer scoring, I figured the Saints defense kind of woke up, and they didn't do anything after that first quarter, did they?
Well, no, not really. I mean, New Orleans held that team to under 100 total yards after the first quarter. Philadelphia had 2 quick scores, and they were really looking to drive that third time. And they were driving down across midfield. Big D Foles turns into big pick Foles and throws a pick right there. Kind of changes the momentum of the whole game. After that, New Orleans kind of took over, and it wasn't so much the offense that took over; it was the defense. Like I said,
Big picnic.
big picnic came in the game, and that defense really shut them down after that. I mean, the offense never really got on full traction. They didn't have a lot of big plays. There wasn't a lot of runs going on. There was some big runs late. Kamara had a big run right there at the end of the game to seal it.
And Ingram had that one called back.
Right.
He had it was like a 30-yarder or something, wasn't it, that he scored on but was called back for
Right.
holding, I believe.
And Michael Thomas had a heck of a game, though. I mean, he was definitely who Breeze was going to try to ride to the end. But, yeah, it was a game after the first quarter, I mean, the Eagles did really nothing until that last drive.
They fell apart.
Now Sean Jeffrey.
Yep.
Which, you know, in his defense, it wasn't a great pass.
He hit
It
both
was-
his hands.
It was a little high.
Oh, bull doo-doo.
I mean, he
He's
did,
the number 1 wide receiver. It's not like he was throwing the number 3 guy.
but he did look down. He was looking to make a play there.
Shit.
You know, he hits him in the chest. It doesn't happen. But I'm not saying it wasn't a good. He wasn't thinking he should have caught. He should have caught it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a great pass. I mean,
You know, I'd got caught up in it. You know, the Eagles shouldn't have been in the playoffs from the word go. You know, they had to miraculously make a heck of a run and get some help to even get in the playoffs, and then the crazy win they pulled off at Chicago. You know, so I was kind of getting caught up in the hype or whatever, but I definitely don't have any problem with New Orleans. I like Breeze. I like Kamara. I like Ingram for a guy from Alabama, especially. He's okay. But I had kind of got caught up in the Cinderella story that Philly was pulling off. But I'm okay with New Orleans moving on, and it was a good game. So,
yeah. Did you guys happen? Speaking of the Bears and that kind of magic, did you guys happen to see the bar out there? I think it was a bar that had the competition where they marked it up at 43 feet with the goalpost and had 100 people line up to try to kick a field goal, and not one of them made it. No, that's a pretty. If you go back and look at some of the videos, there's some pretty funny ones out there with that. But yeah, it was pretty entertaining to watch. It's kind of a off-topic story I saw, but
Who's starting next year for the Eagles? Anybody got any?
It's saying Foles is saying he wants to start,
and so is Wentz too.
So yeah, there's going to be issues there, and there you go. You know, talk about quarterback moves earlier in the program. We were talking about some of that. Either one of those guys could go, you know, somewhere. What if they just went a little north and one of them ended up with the Giants? You know, so.
Well, Foles can buy out. He's got a team option, but he can buy out his contract for like $2 million or something like that if he wants to. I don't know how that works, but
or we talked about Denver. You know,
and I know he's going to get offered more than $20 million, so it wouldn't surprise me a bit. So if he does that, if he does not, if the Eagles don't want him to start there, so yeah.
And right now,
I think Wentz long term probably gives you more a chance to win. I think that
Foles is not the worst option you could have. He's better than Blake Bortles,
which is probably going to be teamless too next year. So,
Blake, my God, I hope he ends up in Washington. That'd be so fun.
No,
I mean, I think Foles' stock right now is probably higher than it's ever going to be or ever has been. I think he can get paid by somebody. We'll take a chance on him. I don't think he ends up being a great player in the end. I think he had a great run and kind of been one of those things where it was just the right guy at the right time type of deal more than I think a lot of the Eagles were winning in spite of Foles. Besides the Super Bowl, I mean, the Super Bowl he played out pretty well that game. But other than that, you look at his numbers; they really weren't that great. They were winning in spite of Foles a lot of times. But yeah, I think if he's going to move on, I think that's probably the.
Yeah, I think they stay with Wentz. It'd be nice if they could get something for Foles out. Maybe like a sign and trade kind of thing. I don't know if they can do that in the NFL.
You know, right now Roethlisberger's saying he's wanting to play next year, but he does this especially the past couple of seasons. You know, he flirts with retirement. So you know, could he end up in Pittsburgh in a pretty good situation? You know, I don't know. I'm just sort of daydreaming about where he could end up. Either one of them, for that matter, if they were to somehow pick Foles over Wentz, you know. Those are some decent teams because the Giants aren't too far away. We saw that run they went on. Get a better quarterback in there. Pittsburgh's a way better team than what they played.
You know, see maybe a Denver taking a shot at him.
I think if the Giants get a couple linemen, they're in business. They got plenty of offensive weapons down there,
and that might be a lot for Foles to see too. Going to a team that's going to be in the division, you get to play twice a year. The Eagles.
show him up or have an opportunity to show him up.
Right, and he's going to have a whole lot more weapons than he had in Philadelphia. I mean, when you had, when you can hand off the ball to
Saquon
and you got
OBJ.
you can just throw the ball in the area and he's going to catch it. So
Ingram's an up and coming tight end. Sheesh.
So yeah, I mean, there could be opportunities out there. There's always opportunities out there for quarterbacks to do something, to go somewhere. So you never can tell what's going to happen, and you never we'll see. How do you feel being a Redskins if you went out there to your team to play?
I'll be all right with either one of them. Wentz or Foles. Obviously, Smith is going to be of no help. I doubt McCoy and Sanchez are even on the team anymore, and that poor Jones or Johnson, what was the kid that ended our season?
Josh Johnson.
So
we shouldn't play horrible considering he's a fourth-round pick.
He was in a crappy situation. Yeah. I'll give it to him, but I believe either one of those would be an upgrade for sure. So.
All right, so I guess that kind of wraps up all the games from last week. Let us know who you were surprised that pulled out the victory or not on our social medias at Front Porch ENT on Twitter and at Front Porch Entertainment on Facebook.
Hopefully pretty soon we'll be on them iTunes and iHeart, hopefully. He said he got a response from iTunes, so
oh, yeah? Good.
We're not in there yet, but I think it's going in the right direction. So
we are under review.
Cool.
That means somebody's got to listen to our episodes, probably.
Yeah.
Poor fella.
Yeah.
Just let you know, we love iTunes.
Yeah,
if you're listening to this episode.
Make sure we're not, preaching white supremacy or Nazi or cussing every other breath. I'm sure is what that's looking out for. So, yeah, let us in, guys. Let us in.
All right. Also, I guess we'll kind of move on to the conference championships. Yeah.
Here we go.
Excited?
It's coming.
Only
it's come
2
to
games,
a head.
4 teams left. 2 games left to decide it all. First game is going to be on. It's going to be the 3:05 game on Sunday. Los Angeles Rams traveling to New Orleans to face Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints.
I think it's going to be the best game.
I don't know. Both these matchups seem pretty solid.
Both of them. I could see either one of these guys winning. All 4 of the teams.
Oh yeah.
All 4 of them.
I like the Rams in this one. I know it's going to be in the dome and it's going to have Drew Brees, but I just can't trust the Saints' offense. It's weird for me to say that because it's always been their strong suit for years and years. I know their defense, has been carrying them quite a bit these last 7 or 8 weeks. But I think a healthy Gurley's going to be the difference in this one. I'm going Rams.
Wow. I'm about to disagree with you. The problem is Dallas's D-line is not
Dallas.
New Orleans Saints.
D-line
is a lot better.
I got you.
They're not gonna fold like Dallas did and give up almost 300 yards rushing. They're gonna sell out, make Goff beat them, which I don't think Goff has proved that he can do that all year long against anybody. The only big game he had was against the Chiefs, which was a complete just any offense got to do whatever they want to do that game. But I don't see that Saints doing that. That defense is too good. Only gave up 100 yards total offense in the last 3 quarters of that game.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see it. I think the Saints. Drew Brees gets to go to his second Super Bowl.
Like you said, out of all 4 teams, I wouldn't be shocked no matter what the combination of winners is. But I'm going to have to go with the home team. Home field advantage really, I think, is going to have a lot to do with it. I'm with you all the way. I believe the Saints are going to have a package to shut that run game down and put it in Goff's hands, and I don't see him as capable of leading a charge and leading a win if he doesn't have that run game opening up passing lanes for him. And I dang sure have a lot of confidence in Drew Brees. Kamara, Ingram, Thomas. So yeah, I'll have to go with home team.
Yeah, and I think the Rams the Saints are gonna be okay if Goff is able to beat them. They'll tip their hat and walk
Yeah,
off. But I don't
think
think
they'll live with it.
I don't think they're gonna let C.J. Anderson and
Yep.
them guys run over them like they did against the Cowboys. I just don't see it happening. And it's gonna be in the Superdome, and it's loud there. It's rowdy. You know, those guys are going to be, it's a 3 o'clock game. Those guys are probably going to be drinking since 9
Oh, yeah.
o'clock in the morning.
Since Saturday night.
Right. You know, they're probably still going to be up and partying, and it's going to be a crazy, crazy venue, and it should be a fun game, hopefully.
I bet it's good.
Yeah, I agree. I'd say it'll be a good one.
All right, so moving on to the AFC Championship game. It's going to be at a 6:40 game. So it's going to be the New England Patriots, and Belichick goes on the road to face the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium.
I can't even remember the last time the Patriots had a road.
You had to travel.
I think that's going to be key for it. And I know it's an Andy Reid team, but I mean Mahomes is. I think he's got his head back in the game. I think they win. I think it's going to be close. But I think since it's at Arrowhead, I'm going Chiefs, man. The offense too good.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot harder to go on the road for the New England Patriots. They have in the past gone and won. As much as I want to say the Chiefs, it's hard to go against Belichick. At the same time, it's hard to go against the Chiefs, especially what they showed last week. I don't think the weather's going to be as much of a factor as it was against the Colts, just because New England's used to playing in bad weather as well, and the snow and the elements. I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think Belichick is a better coach, but I think Kansas City has more weapons right now, and they're at home. I think it's going to be a pretty close game, but I think the Chiefs will eventually pull it out. Andy Reid gets to go to his Super Bowl.
I'm full speed ahead, Kansas City. It looks like Barry's going to give it a go, which will be a huge help. Even if he's 80-85%, him on the field is huge momentum-wise and heart and soul-wise, and he's a heck of a player too. And, the Kansas City playoff debacle, we know they've had the bad luck and losses, and we know Andy Reid's always had problems too, especially in conference championship games. But this is a different team, man. Mahomes is really good. Williams is showed up and showed out, especially here of late. And, man, Tyreek Hill, he's bad to the bone. Kelsey's bad to the bone. And hopefully the Chiefs' defense has got enough to contain Brady, and hopefully we'll see them Chiefs going to the bowl.
They're going to have to get pressure on Brady. That's how you beat him.
Yeah, you have to. You're right.
No, you definitely do. I think even Barry being out there maybe gives him a little bit of a lift, even if he doesn't play the entire game. If he does some spot duty out there, just having him on the field, I think on the sideline in pads, out there, calling a little bit, reading over the defenses, gives him a little bit of a boost, hopefully. And this game is really marked down to be the old guard versus the new guard, and kind of seeing as far as quarterbacks are concerned. With you have Tom Brady, as kind of the old guard that's been there, done that. His record in the playoffs has been spectacular. And then you have, Andy Reid, which has a lot to be desired with his playoff record, but you have a young quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, which is trying to take over that crown.
He
as
doesn't
the new.
get rattled either. He's a respectable young man. He got a lot of gumption to him, and he's a really good player too. So.
I think he's been in the league long enough to know he's not supposed to do this kind of thing. So maybe that's it. But or his time in Texas Tech with Kingsbury, whatever. But I hope Kingsbury sends that man a thank you card, 'cause that's probably what got him the job in Arizona to begin with. But yeah, we'll see. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. I think it's going to be one of those 30 to 28 type games. If it's any less than that, I think it's going to favor New England more than it would the Chiefs.
Well, I think they
But-
read the over/under for both these games was the highest it's been in 30 years, like combined. I don't know the teams that played 30 years ago, but it's on up there. I know that.
Well, they all four of them have capable offenses. That's for sure. So
Well, I think the NFC is going to be a lower scoring game than most people think, just
it
because
may very well be.
because New Orleans is such good defensively, and they haven't been blowing people out offensively. But the way that we've been calling these things and the way that's been going this year, it could be the opposite. It could be the Rams Saints game has 100 points scored, and the New England KC game's a nail biter with
14 to 10.
Yeah, I mean, would you really honestly be shocked the way this year's gone? I mean, you would be, but at the same time, you're like, well, that figure's just been a crazy year. So, but yeah, I think about the whole teams are going to win again this week.
And something that just occurred to me, I especially have been railing on the AFC about nobody wanting to take charge or taking the driver's seat. And by gosh, wouldn't you know it, I guess looking back, especially, after the midway point of the season, probably you would have said Patriots, Chiefs are your two best AFC squads, and here they are.
Right.
I don't know how they got there because, like I say, they, both of them had some bonehead losses near the end of the season, but here they are. And then, of course, the NFC came down exactly what we thought it was going to be. These two teams are exactly what I would have thought it was going to be. So it's funny how things worked out, even though it was a wonky way of getting there, but it ended up kind of like you would have figured matchup-wise.
Yeah, and I think a Bears Saints would have been a heck of a game too. I think it would have been a really, really low scoring game. The Eagles did squeak by that, but actually that would have been they would have had to go to Los Angeles. So I think that could have been interesting because I don't think that team runs on the Bears like they did against the Cowboys. So
Probably not.
but
Should
coulda,
be two
shoulda,
really
woulda.
good games.
could, shoulda, woulda. So yeah, but I think it's gonna be two good games. I think either team could come out on that. And I think, honestly, I don't think anybody would be shocked at anybody going to Atlanta in 2 weeks.
Nope.
No, whatever combination of winners occurs, it's not a big surprise. I just hope it goes the way, especially in the AFC, I hope it goes to the Chiefs.
Hope it goes the way I picked because.
Well, it's going to break the tie this week one
It'll
way or
break
another.
the tie one way or the other. Yep.
So we'll find out.
Let's see what happens. All right. So that kind of ends up our pick'em segment for the conference championship. Let us know on our social media who you guys got, and we'll kind of go from there. All right. What's we got coming up next, guys?
All right, it's time for Hey Stupid.
Daddy, don't say the S word.
And you are correct, Charlie. It is time for Hey Stupid. This is our segment where we take our not so great moments in sports
Hey Stupid.
history and let you know it was kind of not a smart thing to do. Hence, Hey Stupid.
I'll go first on this one.
All right, go ahead, man.
My Hey Stupid goes out to the Tennessee Lady Vols head coach, Holly Warlick, losing 3 games in a row. 2 to non-ranked opponents, 1 to a 16th ranked Kentucky team. Just way too much talent down there to be losing games like that. It's really no excuse. I know you have a hiccup every once in a while, but I know she had the number 1 recruiting class coming in this year, and she had a pretty high one the year before that. You can make the excuse, for it's hard to replace Pat Summitt, but I mean, come on, stupid. You got to do better than this.
You're right, Fee. I like her. I do like Holly. But the replacing a legend excuse goes out the window. You had your, the first, second, third season. I can see that being an excuse, but you're bringing in all this talent. And then next thing you're going to, but she goes to Elite Eights. It's not good enough. Tennessee women's basketball is one of the, the founding members of women's basketball of what it is today. Any sort of popularity started, Pat Summitt, Coach Summitt started it basically. Man, she's got to do better. Unfortunately, It's time for her to go.
I'm calling for her job. I think any coach, most coaches in the country right now would be pleased to come to Tennessee, and I think they would do a lot better.
Yeah, I agree. I think, when you talk about Tennessee's women's program, it's always been up there as one of the most highly sought-after rated programs out there. Them in UConn, it's a pretty short list when you really look at it. And
Notre Dame, Baylor.
Notre Dame, yeah, those guys. But, I mean, they've always been in that picture and always had great players, and it's a shame that they're not performing as they should be. Even especially at a time like now when their men's basketball team is doing so well, that could be a really great renaissance for basketball in the state of Tennessee in that area. But it's just it's a shame that it's not right now.
And women's basketball, that it's a very short list of who you actually have to contend with. Be better than 3 or 4 programs, and that's a championship right there. But losing games to Missouri, Kentucky, who else did you tell me? Georgia, a 3-game slide with all this talent, there's no excuse for it.
You're all right. When there's only honestly, 6 teams maybe that have a legitimate shot to win everything.
Yep.
Yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, I can fill out a women's bracket like nobody's business because it goes pretty much the way it's supposed to.
Yep.
Right, until you get to the Final Four, and then it becomes difficult.
Yeah.
Right. Well, my hey stupid goes to the Jets. Adam Gase. Being a Dolphins fan, I'm like, I don't understand the hire. I guess you're trying to.
I'm giving him the big eyes.
Give me the eyes. I mean, him and his eyes can go up to New York and be horrible. I don't understand. I mean, the team was horrible. Tannehill regressed under his tutelage, and he's supposed to be this guru quarterback coach. And, it's just been not good. I mean, I don't understand what the Jets are doing, what they think they're going to get out of Gase. Is it he get a bad rap at Miami? I don't really think so. I mean, Miami's been not a great team. I guess it's one way to jump Miami. Maybe they figure they can now beat Miami, but you don't need to worry about beating Miami to get to the playoffs. You need to worry about getting past, the Patriots, and I just don't see Adam Gase doing that.
And he was captaining the ship when they let Ajayi go, which that makes no sense to me. Now it turns out Ajayi's had injury problems, but when he let him go, Ajayi was a beast. Right. Top 6-8 runner in the league, I would dare to say.
On a team that hasn't had a history of any running backs.
And he's really good, and he let him go. Come on, Jets, that's crazy.
Poor Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I think we talked about the team last night where you had their top. I think that Miller was 8th on the list all time.
Right.
That's how poorly that.
And was there for 3 years.
Yeah.
Is that what we said?
Which is how poorly that the Dolphins running backs have been historically. So I don't get it.
He didn't want to mar that reputation.
Yeah, he wanted to save the Zonkas and the Mercury Moores of the world.
I guess.
All right, Jairus, what you got, man?
Man, I'm going to go with a guy that he kind of hits hey stupid list from time to time. I'm going to go with Kyrie Irving. He has come out and said that the Boston lack of success is due to experience. This has come from a guy who's been in plenty of not only conference championships but league championships. He's hit game winners in game 7s. So him alone is plenty of experience. Al Horford, I know college and pro are kind of two different levels there, but You got Al Horford that went back to back when he was in college, so that's big game experience. He's been in conference championships and finals, and then the Hayward kid has been in plenty 2 or 3, I think, conference championships. So hey, stupid, I don't believe that's your real problem there. There is a problem that y'all aren't winning games, but experience is not it.
Well, and Horford was part of those teams too in Atlanta that went a couple of rounds in the playoffs not too long ago when they were, they had a really balanced team. They didn't have any great superstars, but they were all really good, and so there is playoff experience there. And not only that, I mean, Horford's been around for a long time now. So I mean, there's at least the regular season experience is definitely there. So I don't get that either. I still think Kyrie's probably the best point guard all around in the league.
Probably.
But yeah, that's put it on your team like that.
He's the best point guard on a flat Earth. That's for sure.
Yes.
And non-moonwalker or whatever he said.
Yeah, the moon landing didn't happen.
No, that wasn't him. That was
he jumped on it too.
Oh, yeah.
He agreed with it.
Yeah. Well, maybe they can join their own little conspiracy team. The all conspiracy team.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, the Celtics got a lot more problems, I think, than it is. Experience is not one of them.
They do better.
Yeah.
Hey, that does help sometimes.
Yep.
All right.
So we went down through our negatives, jump to some positives, and do our attaboys.
You want me to go?
Sure.
I'm gonna give a shout out to old Mean Gene. Mean Gene died 2 weeks ago, I think.
Salute. It hasn't been 2 weeks, has it? Maybe.
Anyway, he died.
Yeah. Bless his soul.
The best wrestling interviewer I've ever saw. If you grew up in the '80s and you watched wrestling, you knew Mean Gene.
Wrestling.
Definitely set off Hogan's career.
Macho Man.
All of them. I enjoyed watching him. I enjoyed watching him do interview. I enjoyed watching him commentate from time to time. I'll miss him. That's all I gotta say about old Mean Gene.
Man, he got the bushwhackers licked his head, buddy. So props to him on that. No, I'm with you, man. He back in those days, you'd have had a hard time convincing me that wrestling wasn't real.
It's not.
Yeah, really.
Oh, okay.
Santa Claus and Easter Bunny are part of it too. But
absolutely,
I'm with you, Fee. He's a fond memory of childhood watching that stuff, and really entertaining guy. So
yeah, definitely a legend, definitely a great entertainer,
Hall of Famer,
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, definitely he'll be missed. I know the WWE had a big tribute for him, and even though it wasn't WWE when he was there, it was WWF back in the day.
The Wildlife Federation.
Yeah, but yeah, hey, good on him. I know he's in a good place right now, and he deserves a little break. And hey, great entertainer, great guy.
I'm with you. You want me to go?
Sure.
Man, from all accounts and from what I can understand, and hopefully this is preemptive. Hopefully I'm wrong. But I'm going with Darren Sproles because it looks like he is going to retire. No bigger than a minute, but he's fast as lightning. Been in the league. Came out of Kansas State in 2005. Wasn't drafted till the 4th round, 130th pick. He is Kansas State's all-time leading running back, rusher. And he's currently 6th on all-purpose yards of all NFL players ever. So that's nothing to sneeze at. That's he's in there with some pretty good company.
Mm-hmm.
Had a good-looking first quarter yesterday. Thought he was going to be a part of a huge upset there for a little while, but we know how that turned out. Played in San Diego for 5 years. He was with the Saints only for 3 years. Seems like he was there a little longer than that, but 11 to 13, and then finished out his career, looks like, from 2014 to this year with the Eagles. Had 3 Pro Bowls, 2-time first-team All-Pro, and Let's see, he's on the Chargers' 50th anniversary team. Had 9 total return touchdowns, kicks and punts combined, 32 receiving touchdowns, 23 rushing touchdowns, and those all-purpose yards, just shy of 20,000, a little 19,000 plus all-purpose yards. Like I said, to be 6th on the list. So.
No, he's a great player. Knock on him was always his size, and everybody's worried about him getting hurt. He had a very long career. He came and saw guys like Reggie Bush, same type player, come and go into the league, and he still got to stick around. He was a nightmare in open space. Didn't have a lot of bad things to say about him. He never got into trouble. I never heard of him being a bad teammate or anything. So it's hard not to like a guy like that. That's kind of the little guy.
Really fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm looking at his numbers. And I thought he was more injury prone than he was, but out of his 13 years, he started 15 games or more, besides 3 of them. So I was quite surprised about that.
Yeah, I mean, he had some knick-knack injuries here and there that wouldn't take him out of a game, or like an ankle or something that would maybe only see half a game. But yeah, he played most games, and he wasn't an every down back all the time, but he did what he was called to do, and nobody wanted to see him out in open space on a screen pass or a little flare or something.
It was fun to watch him do like the trick plays or gimmick plays where he was so small.
Right.
He would duck down behind a offensive guard or something and get those sneaky handoffs and stuff like that. So yeah, he was a fun player to watch, and I hate that he got put out short of the ultimate goal, and hopefully maybe he'll be back, but all signs kind of point to he's done. So attaboy, Sproles.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my attaboy is going. Guess we'll go back to the whole bad story. I guess Mel Stoudemire unfortunately passed away. Great New York name for baseball. He did pitch for the Yankees back early in his career. Never won a title with them. Did go to a World Series, but they lost against the Cardinals in that year. Was 5-time All-Star. He was a 20-game winner 3 separate times during his 11-year career. Both his kids played. His sons. He did have another son that did die, unfortunately, due to leukemia at an early age. What he's probably been known most for is back in 84 to 93. He was the pitching coach for the New York Mets back with Gooden and Ron Darling and Sid Fernandez. Was part of the 86 World Series team. He also was the Astros pitching coach for a short time between 94 and 95 before he went to join the Joe Torre, going back to the Yankees, which he won 4 World Series titles and 6 American League pennants. He left after the 2005 season and did spend a couple of years in Seattle, where he did finish up his career in 2008. But he did unfortunately pass away up in Seattle on the 14th. So with a long fight of cancer, bone cancer. So, a great name. I know a lot of New York fans, both Mets and the Yankees, had a lot of impact on both those lives, and a long career for those guys, and even a short time with my Astros there for a while. But very well known coach, especially in the pitching community, with and a player. I mean, he's a pretty decent player as well.
He had sub-3 ERA. That's not too shabby.
And it's you don't even today you don't get many 20-win.
What was his? When did he play? What was his time span?
60s to 70s.
In the 60s and 70s, yeah.
Okay. Mid-60s to mid-70s.
Yeah.
He wasn't no slouch. He wasn't somebody you wanted to see.
No, he was a good pitcher.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. So, but yeah, his kids were pretty good pitchers, too.
He's very kind of Eddie Pettis-ish, I would say. Ish. 15-win kind of guy.
Yeah.
16-win kind of guy.
Which, nothing wrong with that.
No.
I mean, not everybody can be a Roger Clemens.
Nope.
So, but yeah, good guy, great coach. Coached a lot of good players out there. You think back to some of those late 90s, early 2000, pitching staffs, and in the 80s, the Mets back in their pitching staffs back in the day, they had some pretty decent talent back then. So yeah, he was a he'll be missed, especially in the New York world. And like you said, he's a better place, and just kind of leave it at that.
Spuds for you.
Spuds for you. There you go. So I guess that kind of wraps up our attaboys for the day. Looks like we get some extra time with the Syracuse Duke game going into OT.
Go Orange.
Boy.
But yeah, so kind of surprising this earlier that Syracuse has come out to play in Duke, as a matter of fact. So
They've made several comebacks because Duke has gone on several pretty good runs, getting up 6-8 point range, and Syracuse won't go away. So.
yeah, it's like that little fly that just keeps on buzzing around your ear. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll cover this game a lot more in depth on Saturday.
Still waiting on my 100 likes.
Keep on liking that post, please. Don't make us start making fake accounts now to like on Phillips. Episode number 12.
It was a good one, guys.
13, episode 13.
Yeah, 13's the one.
You ain't got to listen to it. We would like you to listen to it, but at least like it.
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to hear you if they don't listen to this, Steve.
Well, listen to this one and then like that one. If you don't do anything else, like that one.
This was a good program tonight.
I guarantee you, if you would sit there and you'd tell them what was going to happen, you'd get 100 likes. But I didn't tell them.
We mentioned it, didn't we?
No.
They said that something's going to happen.
Not on the page.
Oh,
itself.
okay.
I did post that we needed more liking going on,
Yes.
but
We're
we'll have
gonna
to see
get
what's going on.
Fee's luscious legs in a tennis skirt, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Any other announcements before we head off for the evening?
Pretty soon, iHeart and iTunes both should be
Hopefully.
part of our repertoire.
I haven't heard anything back from iHeart at all, but I've heard, iTunes it's under review.
And maybe that'll fall in line just in time because I'm going to do our best down here at the new Cadillac Sports Grill here in Rockwood. I'm going to do our best to get us a spot down there, and hopefully maybe that'll be our debut as an actual live, come to you live. You hear us from the get-go podcast, I hope. So.
Oh, Lord help us.
I'm going to try to make it happen.
Fee, get your dump button ready.
That's right.
Any other announcements before we get out of here? No?
We'll be back in a few days.
Yeah.
Do another one.
Put another one in the can this weekend. We'll, don't forget to join us on Twitter, which nobody's done yet. So at Front Porch ENT.
I'm not on Twitter, so I can't
Join
help
us
you
on
there.
Facebook.
I don't even know about the Twitter sphere, really. I got an account, but I don't know how to do it.
So
Hashtag and ads, I don't know that stuff.
So yeah, join us, help us out. If you know how to do it, let us know. You can help us do it.
Anybody want to moderate?
Two days,
yeah. Anybody want to moderate on Earth account? There you go. All right, so I
Thanks
guess
again.
yeah, we appreciate you guys listening, taking time out of your day. It's always crazy for us to think that anybody would listen to us three guys sit here and talk about what we talk about anyway. But hey, you guys do it. We love you guys for it, and I guess that's it. Fee, hit the music.